Time for another bunch of random unboxings. So, let's see. This is from, I guess, China? Kowloon? Yep, from China. What is this? This is game accessory. Yeah, never mind about that. That is something I got to mount my phone to my bike when I'm going cycling. Though actually, the same thing could be useful if you wanted to mount your phone to your burn pole, like I've seen some people do. So basically, so noisy the rattling. Because some people I have seen on Facebook behind the scenes photos of people who mount their cell phone to their burn pole, because with these new recorders, quite a lot of them are getting a lot of functionality from your cell phone. So you could, for instance, monitor your levels roughly from that cell phone. You could have it up there where your eyes are, so you don't need to glance down, and you can sort of keep the burn more on spot. That could be one handy example. Anyway, so basically, how does this work? I guess the idea is you sort of strap it around. This fits. Look at the photo of it on use sometime. But do you double loop it? Whatever. Anyway, sidetracked. Yeah. Ah yes, more cables. In the previous video I was saying about how with the Electrosonics wireless that the mounting points are basically there for where the XLR connector is to go out of the receiver. And so if you're putting it in a bag, it's kind of annoying if you've got, I'll open it up and show you with this. It's kind of annoying if it goes in like this, because then you've got this, you can't sit down flat on the bottom of the bag. So that's why I've got some of these. So now with the right angle connector, you can sit down flat like this. And I've even ordered some low profile ones as well, which are a bit more expensive, but it will sort of allow it to sit down even nicer. And yeah, so I've got two of those. And oh yeah, just another spare 3.5mm to XLR cable. Always needing more of them. So what is that one? That's a male to male. So yeah, it's always good to just have, another one. It's always good to have more of these spare cables around. So basically, I got this because this is now a 1/4 inch into XLR. So I got that because apparently the line in on the F8, F4 is on the 1/4 inch rather than the XLR, because it's a combo connection that has both 1/4 inch and XLR. So yeah, apparently if you want to do it, if you line in and you're getting a line out from your receiver, that's the way to go, apparently. Anyway, I'm trying that out pretty soon and seeing if that is a better setup as I expect it would be. Rubbish. Keep this more organised. Rubbish on that side. Unpackaged things on the other side. Now, scissors. It's just brute force to open it up. Whoa. So small. Yep, this is I was saying before about antennas in the earlier video, and I just got a bunch of Electrosonics receivers, and they were all with what's called a BNC connection. This is what's called an SMA connection, and yep, this is for one of my Electrosonics transmitters, because yeah, some of them when I buy them secondhand don't come with it, and the same principle applies there. You want to buy the transmitter or receiver antenna that's the same length for whatever block you're using, because it's optimized for it. It's actually optimized for the frequency in the middle of the block. If you want to go ahead and calculate it out yourself, but if you're using a frequency a bit above or below that one, of course it'll be close enough to work effectively. And snip, 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 snip. Heavy-ish. Ah, yes! More and more. So, I basically got these. So, I'm kind of thinking, depending upon the bag, I might want to be able to turn some of my ones into wide angle connections. This is basically, it's a 1/4 inch to 1/4 inch male female, and look at that. You could probably, why does that not slide in? What am I doing wrong? Is that 4/4 inch? It's going in. I think this is. What am I doing wrong? Were you meant to wire this up yourself? Oh, these are just. Oh yeah. I think I'm just going to be wiring them up myself from scratch. That's right. Yep, got that. Because sometimes it's not just the transmitter end that you might want to have flat or below profile, but sometimes the end going into your recorder you might want to be low profile, just so you've got less stuff sticking out. So if it's wide angle or low profile, and sometimes a bag, there it is, bag I unboxed. Yeah, some of the bags can also be a bit tight fit. You really want to sort of just manage to squeeze everything together. A wide angle, or even better, low profile connector is a good idea. So yeah, I've got a few of those for line ends on the zooms. And what else? I'll actually keep that bag. Oh. This is, more of those just short XLR connectors from one thing to another. Yep, it's always just good to have spares around. It's better to have a spare you don't need than to need it and not have it. And you never know when it could come in handy, a little short XLR cable. Use them for all sorts of things, such as, if I have a camera on the microphone. I meant camera on the microphone. Kind of shows my priorities. We have a microphone that we put a camera on. It's not the other way around. Ignore those cameramen who are telling you it's a microphone putting on the camera. They're just biased towards cameras. If you're all about the microphones, you have the microphone and you put the camera on it. Yep, I was kind of a Freudian slip, letting my biases show when I was saying which way around it is. What's this? That is a Bluetooth headset for my cell phone I got for when I'm cycling around. Ooh, let's not read that, but that's a letter from the tax department. Ugh. Always giving them more money. Oh, sorry. Not giving it, are you? They're stealing it from you. Ugh. Taxes. Anyway, this is much nicer to unbox. Sweet! Sweet, sweet, sweet. I am very, very happy. Now, I think for just looking at this, I can work out what they are. So, but I'm pretty certain this is, from memory, I've got to double check and look up what it is, but this is a Hirose. It's a bit hard to see it, angle this into the light to just count how many plugs are in there. It's a bit dark. I think there are 5. I'll just look on that side. Yeah, there's 5. I've got 2 lights there set up showing at me, and that one's a bit stronger coming in. So yeah, you can see there's 5 pins in here. So this is what's called, some of the questions about how you pronounce it, Hirose or Hiroshi. I hear both. Let's go with Hiroshi, shall we? Instead. There we go. This is a Hiroshi 5-pin. Oh, wake up, David. It's a Limo. What am I talking about? It's a Limo cable. I should clear my head. The difference between Limo and... Anyway, 5-pin Limo. Whatever. It's a 5-pin Limo connector, which from memory is what the AOI Mini uses. So, now, because I think there's some weird bodies that also use one, but that's a different one. I think it's a larger 4-pin one they use. Anyway, I'll look this up and check. I'm just doing this from memory, but I know I ordered some of the cables to match different cameras, and yeah, so I got this one made up for me, and because yeah, I've done a few shoots with an AOI Mini, and an AOI Mini is a very popular camera at the moment, and I thought it's likely to be coming along with some other ones. So yeah, this basically allows you to have some XLR connectors that match with, you know, all your other gear you own everywhere. So that you can then get this freaking annoying connection they use. And it's also a wide angle connection. So going back to my points I was just saying a few minutes ago, it's often handy to have a wide angle connection because, yeah, if you're feeling a bit cramped. And yeah, I know there was a shoot I did with an AOI Mini last year. And yeah, I think the camera crew didn't like so much the fact that... Was it the cable that supplied? I remember I got a cable from somewhere. Yeah, it was just a straight-in connection, so they weren't able to bring the battery plate for the V-mount in as close, so it's sort of sticking out a bit further back. I think they would have preferred being able to move it in a few inches closer. Well, 2 inches maybe. How much do you really save? Anyway, so it's still a good thing. And yeah, I thought I'd best get one of those. So I've got more options and how to work with that kind of camera, and I'm ready. And what is this? This is... Oh yes, this is basically... I'm going back on the... This is going to be the theme for this series of unboxings. Right angle connections. So, I own the Tentacle Sinks, the original Tentacle Sinks. It's really a bit annoying though, because they had announced that there was a new Tentacle Sink coming out when I bought them. But... I really needed the Timecode boxes immediately before I was going overseas on this feature film. So I had to buy the Tentacles. I couldn't wait around for anything else. And so yeah, I kind of want to get the new Tentacle E's as well. But I've got the Ultra Sinks as well. Anyway, rambling on. So they do supply basic cables with the Tentacle. So for memory, they've got the cables. So you can control it from your iPhone or control it from your Android. You obviously need 2 different cables for those kinds, because Android, it does it via USB, and the Apple does it via the 3.5mm headphone jack. Anyway, so, and then of course they supply a 3.5 to 3.5mm, so you can use it with, say, a DSLR. You can feed timecode into the audio track, and they supply, I think, also 3.5 to B and C, which is this. And so that's a very common standard. I mean, there are many different kinds of timecode connections, but that is a very common one. So if you're using it with, for instance, my Sony F3, the one I'm filming with at the moment, you're able to hook it up and use your Tentacle. Now the downside is that all of these cables that come with the Tentacles are all straight connectors, and so, like I said before, there's sometimes you just would like to be able to use a wide angle connector instead. It could just make for a nicer setup, or you're having tricky space issues. And so I thought, it'd be really handy. Let's order a right angle one. Not just a right angle for the Tentacle, right angled for the BNC connector as well. So, fun, more cables. I should count up one of these days how many cables I actually own. Some ungodly number. I've got an ungodly number of AAA rechargeables, some 100 plus, 120. Don't think I'll have quite that many cables, but I could surprise myself. Anyway, let's look at something else. Never mind. That is, again, for my new cell phone I just got. It's a waterproof case, just because even though I got the Samsung S Active, I'm just being a little bit paranoid, like I want to protect it from the rain when I'm out cycling for long hours. Because my last one died from water. Fair enough. And here we go, back to cables again. Huh, what a surprise. Who'd have thought I'd be opening a bag to see more cables? That like never happens. And of course, what kind of cables are these? But timecode cables. And let me see what these are. Oh yes! So these are, I do wonder how you pronounce this, DIN, or do you just say DIN? Because it's a acronym, I assume, because it's all in capitals. Anyway, DIN is the connectors. No, I think I should say DIN. DIN is the connectors you have on the UltraSync 1, made by Timecode Systems, which I think is the best timecode system on the market at the moment, because they're very, very well priced. Timecode boxes really have come down massively in price over the years, and so get it for, a few $100 each, and I think it's maybe $285 American, not sure. And then you get it in a very small size. We're talking about like a matchbox size. I mean, it's ridiculous how small it is, and lightweight. And it's got an LCD display on it, so you've got all the information there. It works with the Blink networks, this sort of this wireless network, so you can talk between them and monitor them. And it's got a whole bunch of other accessories as part of that system made by Timecode Systems. So you can get, for instance, what's called I think it's called SyncBack they make. So that basically gives syncing, and with a GoPro, and you can even control the GoPro. You can start and stop it remotely, and which is good for, say, virtuality applications, or when you sort of got some remote or difficult to locate GoPro you've placed. And yes, that's part of all this network that works together with each other. So it's not just a nice little timecode box itself, it's part of the wider ecosystem it is. So that's often a useful thing, not just when you're buying timecode products, but just products in general. Think about not what are you buying, but what's the general wider ecosystem you're buying into with it. On that point, I kind of want to get one of the Soundifices 600 series in future, just because one of the benefits, well, there's many benefits. One of the benefits is they can actually talk with the timecode systems, UltraSync 1, for instance. That's a nice feature that the company put in it. Anyway, so I've got a couple of those, and again, you just have so many different connections. Everybody wants a different one, don't they? So I was saying before about how the tentacles, they have a 3.5mm connection. Annoyingly, it is not a locking 3.5mm connection, like, say, your G3s or your Sony wireless. They all have a 3.5mm connection, but when you screw in the lav, the cable from it, it gets locked in place, so you never need to worry about the talent accidentally unplugging. And so it's just like, why, Timecode Systems, didn't you do the same thing? Did you really need to save costs that much? I mean, because they are very cheap. It's amazing how cheap they bought them out. They really were the game changer. And now, just last year's NMB, others have put out similar products that are sort of catching up in that, unique factors of really small price for a really small price and really small size. Anyway, just wish Tentacles had put a locking connection. So anyway, they've kind of fixed this with their new Tentacles Sync E that just came out. So it's still using a 3.5mm connection, which you might think is bad, but I guess there's a benefit, is that if you've brought all these many different cables, all the different kinds of cameras for it, and situations like me with the wide-angled ones, they will still keep on working with your new Tentacles Sync E. But what they meant to do to fix that flaw in the first one is it kind of got this little clip thing that comes to the top, it sort of clips it in place. So in a way, it keeps it locked in. So kudos to you, Tentacle, for fixing that. Anyway, I'm going back to focus on explaining about this connection, which is a different one. It's DIN, and it's got a locking connection. It's kind of like a really tiny BNC, I guess, or something. But yeah, yay, more different connections to deal with, which means more cables. So naturally, these are actually my first ever new cables that have finally arrived for my new OuterSync ones that I bought last year. Because I've only had the original stock ones that came with the camera came with the timecode box, which is, I think, just to BNC, or yeah, I think that's the only one that came, DIN to BNC. Oh yeah, another good thing about them is they actually have two cables with each one, because they don't just do timecode, they also do Genlock. Because timecode only tells the camera what is the correct time when they start the file, but then the camera starts recording off in its own clock, doing its own thing. I mean, and it's doing a really long take or whatever. Who knows where it could be drifting off to? I mean, in normal practical aspects, when you're doing, most filmmaking, it's not going to be an issue. I mean, even for me with my vlog, if I was wanting to sync to this, but I'm not, just running straight into it shouldn't be an issue over like a few minutes. But if you're doing like a live music event, and that's really long, and also doing live and you're broadcasting and cutting between cameras, on what if they're not hitting the frame at exactly the same point? Yeah, so basically just Genlock takes over the camera and tells it not just what the correct time is, but tells this is also time you open and close the shutter. Boom, boom, boom. So yeah, it really keeps it locked in accurately forever. So that's a good feature of the timecode systems, is that they have both timecode and Genlock, and there's no other product at their price point or size, neither size or price point can you find one that has both of these. So again, another tick in the box for go get yourself an OuterSync one. And anyway, so that's why I did that, but it means more cables. So these cables are going into LEMO 5-pin and 4-pin, if I'm reading it correctly. And so, again, I think this is the one for an ARRI Alexa Classic and also Red one. I'm about to start a feature film next weekend for the next 2 months. We're shooting with 2 red ones. So this is really good timing for me, because I'm of course doing the sound for that, and I at the moment only have one lonely one that matches the red one connection. Now I've got 2 cables. The other one I had was the one with my tentacles, so I will put one tentacle on one camera and I put an OuterSync on the other one, because you can mix timecode boxes if you wish, because they're still, they should be accurate. What else do I say? And I think that's for the newer red bodies, this one, or the ARRI Mini or something. Anyway. Sound rolling, if you go to his website, he's got a handy listing. Soundrolling.com, Matt Price, he's got a handy listing that shows a bunch of popular cameras and the in-out audios of each, and what time code connection they need. So if you're ever wondering, like, ooh, what is this for? Or, I'm shooting with this camera, what one should I get? Worry no more. Look it up and find out. Just good shout out, go to soundrolling.com. Anyway. What is this? Oh yes, bit of a theme again for my new cell phone. Even though, yes, I got the Samsung S8, which is going to be stronger and tougher than anything else, being the Mr. Paranoid I am about just keeping it super safe and protected, I got myself this big armor cage case, which should be a freaking monster. Look at the thing. That would definitely make it very tough and safe indeed. Why can't I slide it down in reverse, damn it? So that would be nice to fit in like that. Maybe perhaps. Cool. Anyway. not here to talk about my cell phones. Another of my geeky passions thing. Okay. What is this? I know it can be a bit annoying when stuff is like really well packaged, but then it's also reassuring. Oh yes! More. Oh yes, I got myself a few backup lavs, a bit cheaper ones, but I thought, because lavs in a way are a bit of a disposable product that you kind of expect, they're not going to be lasting you forever necessarily if you're out there using them every single week. You're handing them off to talent who might sometimes treat a bit roughly, or or they're just the scene is could be a bit rough, and they've only got a finite lifespan if you're out there using them every week. So I thought, because I've got some really nice lavs now, like DPA lavs. I just ordered myself last week some Oscar Soundtechnique lavs. Actually, that box there might be there. Anyway, where's I was saying? So yeah, I might not necessarily want them damaged, or on if I'm doing like a really low budget freebie job or something, I might want a cheaper option. And normally what you do here is just use the stock lavs that came with the wireless when you bought them, right? But if those stock lavs have already been broken and expired, years ago, I mean, what's your other option to use then? And so, yeah, I thought might be good to just have some cheaper lavs that I can use throw at a shoot if I'm just doing it for the free, and not feel that I'm risking hundreds and thousands of not hundreds and hundreds of thousands, hundreds or thousands of dollars in lavs being damaged, and you're just like, oh shit, I just lost hundreds of dollars and I didn't get paid hundreds of dollars for this job, did I? But I didn't get paid anything. I was just doing it, helping out a student short film or something stupid. Which is, all good and fun to do those, and I enjoy it, and meet more people and gain some more experiences and try some new tricks. But I don't want to necessarily, be putting myself at significant financial risk every shoot. And so if I've got some cheap lavs that still get the job done, but it'd be like $50, out of my pocket, then it won't be such a big deal, would it? So yeah, that's why I got those. And also, yeah, it's just a good spare to carry in your bag, because even if you are using all your nice ones, and then like, shit, something happened, it's better to have something available to help yourself out in a spot until you get a new one, rather than nothing. So, yeah. Yay for having a couple more spare backups, lavs for my Sony wireless. At which point, shout out to the good Sony for, making what I think are the best low budget wireless at the moment. Because most people just buy G3s and people get recommended, what low budget lavs should get a G3. No, get the Sony UWP D11s at basically the same price, around $650 American or so per set, and they meet the same minimum quality sound that you get out of them. Good enough for no budget work that you would do with a G3, but they're just more refined at every level. They just feel more solidly built. They have a USB power point, so you can charge them like that. If you've got a plant like you put up in the stadium for hours, like I did on a shoot a couple of weeks back at Indian Wedding, you don't need to worry about going flat ever. You can use it with a smart shoe into a Sony camera like the FS7, for instance. You can get 4 channels of audio if you've got one of these Sony wireless receivers going into the smart shoe and using the XLR connectors. So that's a really handy feature. Though maybe I should keep that quiet. They might end up firing the soundies if they don't need them. They can just run 4 channels straight into the camera. Let the camera operator do it instead. Ha ha ha. Anyway, Anyway, I took that's another video. I could talk about why I like them. I've actually got a pair of G3s at the moment because I don't own any G3s myself, obviously because I prefer Sony. I like them more, but I have used them heaps on shoots in the past before, and before I bought my own wireless and so forth. So I know them well, but yeah, I don't actually have a pair to be able to sort of compare directly in a video if a person was curious. But I did actually get dropped off a pair just a couple of days ago from a friend that I'm going to look into because it's actually broken at the moment. And I'm just going to have a little look and play around and see if I can figure out, get my multimeter out and see if I can figure out what's broken with it. Anyway, but at least I've got a physical one. I should do a video soon that shows you like the two of them next to each other so people can see for themselves. Anyway, enough of pimping out Sony as to why people should buy them. Let's look instead as to, oh yeah, this is tape. Tape. Why did I buy this tape? Oh, yes, that's right. I was going to be making up some of my own straps. So, there are quite a lot of different straps out there you can buy for mounting for mounting the body pack transmitters, and so quite often people would just clip them into the belt. Now that is not a good idea necessarily for all circumstances. I mean, it does have on its upside, it is easy to do, but you will see like the clip there, or you might even see the whole body pack hanging out, and that you don't want to see that on camera. And if a person's got their shirt tucked in, it's not possible to be able to sort of clip it in there and not have it seen. And sometimes some people might not find it that comfortable either. But using these straps, you can put them into more comfortable places, and you can also hide it away more effectively. So you could maybe sort of, move it a bit higher up the back, or just some spot where it's not going to be seen, or you could put it down. You can get a thigh strap, put it down here. If a person's wearing like a really tight, slim dress, and you're like, yikes, there's absolutely nowhere I can hide that body pack transmitter. This is impossible. I give up. Wrong. You can hide it right there. It's just sort of on the inside of the thigh, because you get a thigh strap and then you just run it down there, and yeah, you can't be seen. I mean, I've done this many times on dresses that non-experienced people might look at and go, how do you hide a lav on that? It's actually quite easy. And I've actually even used it on some shoots when there are fight scenes, and so you might. I mean, ideally, you want to take your lav off the person before a fight scene for two reasons. The most important reason is your gear might get damaged, right? The other reason, which some people might disagree with and actually say is a more important reason than the first one I mentioned, but I'm not going to argue, whatever, is that the person might get hurt themselves, because, some of these body packs are, metal objects with sharp, pointy edges, and if they're rolling around fighting on the ground or whatever, it could hurt. And but that's not always an option. The director might want the way the scene to flow out is, them just smoothly transitioning from whatever they're doing before into the fight, and the way that scene leading up into it might not might not be feasible to just do it purely on the berm. It might be like a one take opportunity, because his clothes are going to get ripped and whatever in the fight. It's not going to be an opportunity to do another take. So you've got to have that safety measure of having the wireless at the same time. Because that's what I kind of think of wireless. I mean, berm is king, but in a way, your wireless is your insurance, and while you don't necessarily want to always use your insurance, I mean, when you need your insurance, you're glad you've had insurance. Anyway, so that's one way to think of it. And or it might just be, the way they're shooting, you can't use a berm. Maybe he's spinning around with a gimbal and an 8mm fisheye lens or something nuts. The camera person. I've done shoots before when they're using an 8mm fisheye lens, and I'm just like, oh god, well, that's gonna be fun for me, because you just see everywhere. And so anyway, so if you need that lav in the person, you want to put that in a place where they are unlikely to be hurt by it, and placing it here on the back, or clipped into the belt, it is a very high risk scenario because people often fight and fall down onto their backs or onto their ass, and just it's not safe. Whereas if you're placing it between the legs, you've got to fall in a very weird way to sort of land and have that hit into you. Although, that would actually hurt if it did hit upwards into that spot where your family jewels are. Anyway, this is just related to the general issue of why it's so important to always look at the blocking, especially if it's a fight scene. You really want to know how they plan on moving through that scene to see what is okay or not okay for where you could be putting your lavs. Yeah. Anyway, I was talking all about this because there are obviously lots of different kinds of straps, and quite a few different manufacturers at the moment. Ursa Straps is a new one that's very highly thought of and is becoming pretty popular with making great stuff. But you need lots of different straps, different places. So you might, for instance, have a strap here to hide on your ankle, because that's a comfortable place, and if a person's wearing a tight-fitting top and tight-fitting pants, you might not be able to necessarily put it down there, so you can wind it down to the leg. But there's another point. You might need to make sure you've got a lav, which is a long enough cable that can go all that distance, getting an extension. Anyway, or you might say, have a shoulder strap holster kind of thing, because like for women, you can often clip it on the back of a bra clip, but if you're wanting that mounting position on a guy, well, they don't wear bras, so you're not able to sort of put it high up on their shoulders like that. And of course, you've got all the very classic stomach ones there, and the thigh ones. And anyway, then of course you also need these in different sizes, because what's appropriate for me to wear as a chest strap might not be appropriate for a guy who is 250 kilos, and it's not appropriate for what a small child should wear. So you need them lots of different sizes, and you need you also need them in different colors sometimes, because like they've got a white top, for instance, that's semi-transparent, and if you're putting a black one underneath, well, it's going to really stand out on camera. So you want a white coloured one, or perhaps a flesh coloured one that could closely match whatever their flesh tone is, or vice versa. What if it's a black mesh top and you want to put a white strap underneath? I mean, that doesn't make sense. So you want to have it in quite a few different colours and different sizes, so it really does add up to a lot of these you really want to have in your collection to be able to sort of tackle all kinds of different problems. I used to have a whole bag full of these until they got lost on one crazy shoot down in South Island. I'm sort of a bit annoyed about, but life happens. I've been gradually buying more of them again and building my collection back up again, but I've come in thinking like, they're not that difficult to make yourself. And so these are basically the grippy material, so that you'll get the sort of the stretchy material that you'll use for it. You put Velcro on each side so you can stick it together. But then this sort of sticky material just sort of like grips better onto the onto your skin, so it doesn't slide. Of course, if you're mounted to here or there, the last thing you want to do is have it slide. And I must say, I forget actually what this is, the name of it. I was just randomly researching it, going through a sewing forum or whatever, trying to come up with like what exactly is it I'm looking for. But yeah, this is, oh yeah, it's what's called, it's elastic with rubber. I think it's called rubberized elastic or something. I don't know. I'll post the name in the description of the video, I guess, and a link to what it is I bought. when I look at what it was that I figured out would work right. And so yeah, I just thought, right, if I make up some of my own, this would be perfect. Yeah, what am I saying? Oh yeah, another cell phone case. Never mind about that. Cell phone cases were really cheap, and you know, cell phone is a really important thing to me. You know, it's something you always have with you. It's kind of an extension of your own body in a way. So I thought I might as well try out a few different cases and really find the perfect one that, you know, fits with what I want. Plus, you know, you might want different cases for different times. You know, you might want a really slim day-to-day one, and then you might want a more heavy-duty one when you're out in a bit more risky situation. You know, stuff might be getting bashed about while you're tramping up a mountain or whatever it is you're out there doing your active sports with your phone. And this is a power bank. Yay! Again for my cell phone. But man, they're just useful for all kinds of things. Like for instance, I just mentioned earlier about how the Sony UWP D11 wireless, you can power them via a power bank like this. Well, you can also, I have a power bank sometimes in my bag, not just to say power my phone, but I would have a little USB light, so I can sort of have a light come up there and just shine into my bag, and I can see, you know, find stuff in the bag if I'm doing a night shoot and it's dark. Anyway, so yeah, always have a USB power bank with you. You never know, you know, you might be having a really long shoot and your phone's dying, and surprise, surprise, another cable, 3.5mm to male XLR. Because you never have too many cables, right? I bet this is another cable. It's just like 50-50 odds, right? Ha! It's another cable. Look at that. Now... Oh! Yeah, I know what this is. So, I do a little bit of camera stuff occasionally. And so I've got a Sony F3, Sony PMW F3 is named for it, which is the camera I'm filming with right now. Now this is a really great camera in particular because it does 444 output. So I will use an Atmos Samurai blade that I own to get ProRes HQ out of it, which, you know, is very fantastic codec. It's high quality. But now, so the Atmos Shogun, actually all the Atmos record is, the whole series of them, they record to a standard solid state drive that is inside a special caddy that comes with the recorder. Now, you need a reader for the drive, and I thought I'd lost my reader for a few weeks, and I was like, where the hell did it go? Did I lose it on a shoot or something? But embarrassingly, I did find it again. It was just in a drawer. Yeah, oops. But during those few weeks I was wondering where it was, I thought, you know what, I'd better order a replacement. And, well, I guess it's now backup instead. It's always good to have backup, so now I've got a backup. But I didn't necessarily want to order the Atmos. Atmos? Yeah, the brand, the original one, copy of that, because it was kind of expensive, the reader. I mean, it did sort of fit nicely with the caddy and stuff, but it's still just using the standard connection at the end of an SDI. So the end of a SSD. So it's like, do I really need to spend all that money for that one when honestly I don't do that much camera stuff? Is it really that important? It's not something. Is it worth it? So I thought, nah, I'm going to look up and find the same product, just, you know, the generic one. And so yeah, here it is. It's actually got two connections. One is USB 3.0, but I think if you have USB 2.0, it's not compatible with some people, so it's got that one as well. So you can tell it by just looking at it. If there's a little blue bar on the bottom, that means it's USB 3.0. USB 3.0 is awesome. It's just so much faster for transferring data than USB 2.0. And yeah, that's all that does. Just reads from a SSD. Almost finished unboxing this random collection of things. I should just have said that from the start. This is going to be more cables, right? It's more cables. It's always more cables. What is this one? This is... Oh yeah, another XLR cable. It's like a 2 feet, just sand it. XLR male, XLR female. Again, you know, it's always good to have more of them. Another cable? You're right, it's another cable. It's a headphone splitter. Because, yeah, like, I might use my Sony UWP DL11s as kind of like a cheap, well not cheaper, but alternative Comtech or IFB way if I need to give a feed to the director or script supervisor or whoever to hear what it is that's being recorded. But maybe, I don't know, maybe you're using all your wireless already in the scene. You don't have one of those spare to hand out for that purpose. Or maybe, you know, yeah, and there's no budget going to hire it or whatever, you just want a simple way to do it. Well, headphone jack splitter. Send one to me, send one to them, and they can just... I've got a long 3.5mm extension cord, so, you know, if they can even stand a little bit further off from me and have a listen to it. But generally that's a bad idea, you don't want them to be cabled down. Although I did do this once last year. It was a car shoot, so it was a car shoot inside a studio space, so the car wasn't driving around. It wasn't actually done on green screen, so something much more fancy and really impressive. I really liked what David Chan had done with basically these screens all around the back of the car. So you basically sort of, it felt like, you know, when you look at the monitor, the car was actually it was already moving, because you had these VFX plates playing in the background. Anyway, because it was just you know, we're not moving around, we were pretty stationary, the whole scene. Yeah, I could just give the feed off to the director that way, it was no problem. So yeah, again, you know, one of those extra cables that's useful for who knows what kind of things that might pop up to problem solve a problem. That is why it is useful to have these things before they even arrive, so that, you know, you are ready to fix it and give solutions. Now, not a cable. Well, sort of. It's got a connection on one end, and I guess that's a cable, and yep, sticking to the theme. Well, it's actually an antenna with a SMA connector. Yet another one of them, as I was saying earlier, and I just unboxed another one of those. I need them for the Electrosonics that I buy, and they don't already come with one. Although strangely, you do seem to more often buy the transmitter that still comes with antenna second hand than a receiver that still has an antenna. Maybe because they're being used in a cart and they're being used with like shark fin antennas or whatever, and so that's why they've lost the original ones. I don't know, I'd almost would have expected it the other way around, because you know, the antennas on the body packs get handed out, you know, to people who are using them and sitting on them and running around in them, and they get damaged and broken. I would have thought it'd be more often to see the other way around. At least that's my general impression. I haven't done a study or anything. More cables? Surprise anyone? Anyway, I got this because my power distribution unit in my bag gets powered from Sony BPU batteries, and I quite like the BPU batteries. I've been using them for all kinds of stuff. So my Sony F3 I'm recording with right now uses them, as does all kinds of other cameras like the classic EX1 back in the day and the EX3, and of course today's classic one that gets used everywhere, the Sony FS7. You know, that is the most popular low mid-end cinema camera at the moment. That uses BPU batteries, as does his little brother, the FS5, and yeah, it's just a very common battery. And I quite like that. So the Sony MPF batteries, the feature it has over them is that, because the MPF ones are very popular, all kinds of lights get powered with them, that the BPU has a check light, so you can just press it and you can see how many bars of battery life is left in it. So that's a nice thing with BPU batteries. And yeah, so my power distribution unit in my bag for my F4 is running off a BPU battery. I normally use the BPU 30 because I find that quite sufficient for a long day, quite often the whole day, yeah. Yeah, almost always a whole day. But even if you're being really paranoid, you know, swap it over at lunchtime and with a spare one, that's all good. And I like using the BPU 30 because it's the smallest one, and it is pretty lightweight. But if I'm just doing like a sit-down interview, so I don't care about weight, or I'm just doing my setup a of the day, or whatever, I do use the BPU 60 instead. You can even get a BPU 90 that's even bigger. I don't have any BPU 90s. And if a FS7, whatever, it would make sense to get one of those long-lasting batteries. And anyway, so I'm going to be using the power distribution soon to power my Lectrosonics receivers is my plan. Now, I have a whole bunch of connections that go from USB to DTAP, so not DTAP, USB to the DCN that they need, and, so not USB, DTAP to DCN that they need. And so what this is a bunch of DTAPs. So I don't have as many DTAPs as I need on my distribution unit that I have for the BPU battery. But I've got a high-res output. So my plan is I'm going to take the high-res out, and then from these D-plugs, DTAPs, I'll then send it out to each one that I need for the Sonics. At least that's my plan. I'm going to see how it works. So, yep. And now this is high-rise. I misspoke earlier, saying a lemo was a high-rise, or Harashi, as you say. Cool. And yeah, that counts as another cable. So many cables. Okay, 2 last things. 3 last things. 2 last things after this one. Yeah, now you go to sleep on this bed soon. I am pretty tired. It is midnight. And it was a long day yesterday and today. Ignore that. It's another... Oop, that fell down. It is another cell phone case. But a pretty clear, transparent one. Okay. And this is not a cable!